episode of the Embodying Excellence podcast. We're your hosts, Carlo and Brenden. How are you, Brenden?
I'm going really well, thank you. Yourself?
I am feeling good. And what are we talking about today?
Consistency.
Now that is a good topic to talk about, especially when it comes to embodying excellence, because it's actually one of the most important components of development, isn't it?
Yeah, 100% of this.
And
about what you do every day.
I know, you're doing a lot every day as well, right? Like, you are literally creating consistent patterns in your life every single day without even you noticing sometimes. And so I heard a really good quote that you should question, everyone pretends to question their beliefs except for the ones they don't think to question, right? And so the same goes with habits, the same thing goes with thoughts and actions as well. And so when we talk about consistency, I think it's just more than doing something repetitively. It's also asking yourself, what am I doing repetitively? Because like I was saying, we always like to add this new habit. We also like to add this new hack or this new trick that's going to get us that 1% better. Don't get me wrong. Adding new things to your arsenal of skills will help you get better. But at the same time, it has to come at the price of replacing something that is no longer serving you, right? And so I remember I was watching it was some court thing, right, with a man named Kerry Packer. And one of the things he was saying is that all of these politicians and lobbyists are creating these new laws, right? And he was saying that new laws should be created, meanwhile old ones get repealed, so that then it helps cycle the system, right? I'm no fan of the system, but at the same time, like, that makes a lot of sense, right? And so it goes as well with habits, where by being consistent with a productive habit, by taking away an unproductive habit will allow for you to have more room to execute said habit, because you can't carry everything. It's just absolutely not, I wouldn't say it's not impossible, but at the same time, you make it very difficult. So if you're carrying a wound, for example, from the past, and you're doing all of these different things to work on yourself, but at the same time, you still keep coming back to the wound, you're always going to have the wound until you learn to let go of said wound. All the healing work that you do, it won't help you remove the wound, like, until you stop touching it. You can't, like, a wound's only going to heal if you stop touching it. A habit is only going to be consistent when you stop the old ones. And so if you keep falling back into old patterns, it's because you haven't learned to let go of the old one. And if you're consistently doing that, you won't reach what you're trying to reach as fast as you would like, or as effectively as you would like, because you're only half in it. You know, you've got to be all in, like, when it comes to creating and developing yourself and creating a new life for yourself. But if you're only putting one foot in the new life while keeping the other foot still where you are, you're not going to go anywhere. It's like the old saying, you can't run to first base when you've still got your foot on home base, right? And you need to step out, which is why I think consistency involves those two parts. What do I need to do consistently to be better? But also, what am I consistently doing that is making things worse?
Yeah, absolutely. It's about doing the right things consistently, not the things that aren't moving towards you where you want to go. Winning's simple, but it's not easy. So it's about doing those things consistently enough, and realising that by you doing them things consistently, even though it may seem monotonous, that's what's going to get you there, because because of the fact that it's monotonous, people are going to they're going to step away from doing the things because it is in that way. But it's simple, but you've got to do them things.
Absolutely.
To win.
And also what I've found as well, and this is from my own personal experience, is that consistency always gets mixed up as an outcome rather than a process. Consistency is a process. And so when you're thinking of consistency as an outcome, you go, all right, well, I've got to do this and I've got to do this and I've got to do this to achieve consistency. Well, consistency isn't something that's achieved after doing a set amount of things. It's a process that you're doing in the moment to moment, that then develops skills, that develops an understanding of the world, of your own inner world, as well as your perception of the outer world. And so by embracing consistency as a process, by going, hey, here's what I'm doing today, and this thing I'm going to be doing tomorrow, and then the day after, and then the day after. An excellent example, your ruck. Your first day that you did the ruck, you're going, today, I did the ruck. The next day, you're going, today, I'm doing the ruck. On the third day, you're going, today, I'm doing the ruck. Not, I need to do the ruck tomorrow, I need to do the ruck the day after, I've got to set up my time for next week. It was day to day, moment to moment, right? And so there are benefits of setting your week up. There are benefits of setting your month up, your year up, all these different things. But if you set it all up, but then you fail to do the things day to day, and you decide, oh, well, you know what, I missed a day, now I'm going to just completely go off track, you completely miss the point of the process. Because consistency is that process of doing the daily things every single day. So instead of just always thinking in years, or always thinking in weeks, and always thinking, fuck, I need to set myself up, fuck, I need this and this and this and this and this, and trying controlling everything, what do I need to do today? So that then I can get better today. So that then when I go to sleep at night, I ask myself, have I done everything that I could have done today? Yes. Cool. Tomorrow you wake up, okay, here's what needs to be done today, and then you go out and you go and do that. That process you do every day will give you consistency as a consequence, not as an outcome. And so I mixed that up for a long time as well, because everyone was saying, or not everyone, but I mean, when I say everyone, I mean collectively on podcasts that I was listening to, instead of actually taking the action, was you need to enjoy the process. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? It's all about the process. And I'm going, dude, I have no idea what you're talking about. Now I know. It is the daily activities that need to be done on a consistent basis by you being present, and not you trying to compartmentalize everything on the outside of things that haven't happened yet. Do the things that need your attention right now. Because all problems are things that require your attention. They're not something that you ignore. They're not something that you put off. They're something you just bring your attention to, right? And it always has been a negatively connotated word, where problem, oh no, something negative. Oh no, something negative, I don't want to deal with it, because we've been taught that negative is bad. Negative makes us feel guilty, doubtful, whatever the story you were told. Negative just has this response to it where our bodies feel tense, we feel anxious, we feel stressed, whatever it is, right? Consistency, what am I doing today? What needs to be done today so that my tomorrow is that little bit better? And you do that every single day. That's consistency as a process.
Yeah, and that can go the opposite way as well. Like you can consistently do things that are not good for you either. and then that has a compound effect. So how you feel and the way you treat people, all that as well. So consistency plays a big part in how you're portrayed in your own mind and how other people portray you. Because as you've said before in the past, how you see yourself is how the world sees you as well. So that consistency there.
And that's why especially in I would say the environment of energy, like people that really gravitate towards energy, they talk about spirals, an upward spiral and a downward spiral, right? And so a lot of what you do, you can do the wrong things consistently and you're on that downward spiral. And so it's a continuum, it's not binary, it's not like you just go straight down and stop, right? It's just a continual spiral, because that's the way that energy works, that's the way that gravity works, and we then build ourselves down when you start consistently doing the things that are serving you and then serving other people as a consequence as well. You're on that upward spiral. Your feelings change, your senses elevate, all these different things, you're consistently on the upward. And so sometimes it takes an upward spiral, sometimes it takes a downward spiral, but at the same time, we're motivated by the way that we feel and then by the actions that we take, because as you know, actions come before belief. You need to be consistent, you need to put the outputs that you get the outcome. And so by being consistent in the process of understanding that by focusing on the day-to-day, you're better able to then grasp what tomorrow is going to look like. And so when you become accustomed to your day-to-day, your routine, your systems that you build, you're able to map out what the week's going to look like. If you don't know what today is going to look like, how are you going to know what a week's going to look like, a month's going to look like, a year's going to look like? By focusing on everyday activities that you need completed so that then you can go and live the life that you want. By doing that every day, you have a better opportunity to then project what your week's going to look like. Because you have all these gurus on social media go, you need to project your year out. Like I see all the time the board, the ads for the big calendar. And you have this big ass calendar that you write all your little things on so that you have an idea of what your year's going to look like. That looks great, but if your nervous system is stuck in flight or fight or in freeze and you don't even know what you're going to do for the day, the year's going to be overwhelming. And so the way to start with consistency is you get up in the morning and you go, well, what's on my agenda for today? Tick the boxes. Great, everything was done. I have some discretionary time to do a little bit extra. So then you go and do that little bit extra, because the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is just a little bit extra. And you go and above and beyond and do that little bit extra. You go to sleep and you ask yourself, did I do everything in my power to make my life better for me tomorrow? Yes, excellent, good. No, all right, what lesson did you learn? And what do you need to do differently tomorrow? And then you go out and you do that tomorrow. When you focus on those particular questions every single day for a week, things change. You have a result as a consequence of your day-to-day focus. Then when you start getting more results on your day-to-day focus, because you've been doing it consistently for a month, you go, oh, cool, all right, this is what I would like every month to look like. Cool, all right, so now that I know what my day process looks like, and I know what my week process looks like, and now I know what my month process looks like. Cool, all right, let's do that 3 times now. And now we've got a 3-month process, a 6-month process, a 12-month process. And so that's not to say you have to do that by yourself as well. You can ask for help, you can talk to different people, but understanding what your life looks like on a daily basis, not just from a theoretical thought standpoint, but from an actual practice embodiment activities from day to day. Hey, this is how I feel when X. This is how I respond when this happens. When you know what that looks like day to day, consistency becomes so much easier, and consistency becomes less of a barrier, it becomes less resistive, because a lot of the time when your routine changes, you feel like you're caged, which is why people laugh at you when you tell them that you're on a diet. Oh, isn't that restrictive? Or when you're on a training plan, oh, aren't you a little bit obsessive? Like, no, because this is the life that I've decided to design. Just because you haven't designed a life at all and you just go with the flow and you hate your 9 to 5 and hate everything about your existence, doesn't mean that my life is obsessive, right? Yeah. Like, and it doesn't have to be the same, but more so just obsessive. Like, what you're projecting as at me, for me being obsessive, is that you're unorganized and you're unwilling to face the chaos either. And instead, you just put your head in the sand and go, yeah, nah, you know what? This will probably just deal with itself. I'm not going to be a part of it. Like, you're not even a captain in your own life, and you want to tell us that dieting or training a lot is obsessive. That's silly. And so I know, because I was that person that would just look at someone training and going, oh, they're on gear, or hey, they're just a bit obsessed with the gym. Oh, that's a little bit too much for me. Like, I didn't get it. I didn't get it until I decided to start training myself and doing it every day, and I started lifting heavier and I started feeling better about myself. I go, okay, now I understand.
Yeah.
And so now fundamentally, by being consistent at the gym, by being consistent in my thoughts and in my values and in my beliefs, it has allowed me to live a more peaceful existence because I know who I am at the core of my being. And so consistency also helps with that as well, because by processing emotion, by regulating and understanding why you make certain decisions, you enable yourself to then cross things off that don't match or don't align with your values or your beliefs or your systems, so that then you go, oh, well, that's really not an activity for me, so I'm going to go and do this. Another fantastic example, I'm going out later with a friend of mine for his birthday, and I asked him like if he wanted to come out with me like on a night out, so that then we could go to a bar, maybe have a drink and talk to some girls. And he goes, look, I'm trying to focus on myself. I think it would be better if we had a feed. And I was like, great, no worries, let's go and do that. Not only did he assert his boundaries, but also at the same time, he has an intense focus on what his life would like to look like for the current time being. It doesn't mean he's not open to going out later down the track, but in that moment, he's decided that his focus is on himself. And so his daily process looks like he's going to work, he's going to the gym, he's eating well, and at the same time, because going out on a night out didn't align with who he currently sees himself as, he decided, hey, you know what, let's go for a feed instead, right? And that's totally acceptable. And so when you learn to see yourself for who you are and not worry about what other people think, consistency becomes much easier. Because if you're not focused on the core of your being and who that is, distractions become so easy. It's like if you're a person that is struggling to lose weight and you're working out, but your focus isn't on working out and becoming better, your focus is trying to lose the weight and making sure that distractions don't get in the way. When distractions do get in the way, because your core of your being is not on you, it's on the weight loss, then you'll go, oh, hey, you know what? One night out couldn't hurt, right? And there goes your consistency, right? And you see consistency as an outcome rather than the process. And so Tyler saw that as the process of saying no and going, hey, you know what? Let's go eat. Great, no problem. And so by you seeing it as a process, when you do go out sometimes with the boys, you're not going to drink, right? Or you're not going to eat shit food. You're going to find a place that has decent food, so that then it's all part of your plan, right? Which might be obsessive to some people, but it's consistent for you, right? And it's consistent for the boys that you're around, including myself, and we get it. And so doesn't mean that the audience doesn't get it. It just means that they're on a different wavelength right now, right? Whether they decide to change wavelengths, that's up to them. Whether we decide to change wavelengths, that's also up to us, right? And so we have that freedom to make that decision. And so consistency is always a process.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you get to a certain point of that consistency, it's when something that goes out of line that sort of is an obstacle to that consistency is when you truly gain confidence and more discipline in yourself, because it's not always that simple way of getting the stuff done. You've got to learn to work around things, and in a way having that consistency there does help as well, because you know that that's become a habit for you, so you've got to make sure you get it done regardless. But it's the fact that you're getting or not getting it done regardless is what builds the extra confidence, the extra discipline, all those things in yourself once you get it done regardless.
Well, that's what training's for, isn't it? Right? And so all of these test days that you have, or when you do go work out, it's so that when circumstances do arise, you're not rattled. Yeah. And so it's more of a meditation rather than, oh, I'm training so that then when this happens, I'll be prepared. It's more like, well, things may happen either way. unprepared, right? I'm prepared regardless. I'm not training so I can prepare for this specific thing. I'm prepared regardless of what happens.
Yeah.
And so that's how consistency helps with confidence as well, because by understanding that confidence is developed by action, and then consistency is that process of action that then helps build your confidence, then it becomes much easier for you to go, yeah, okay, well, that's not part of my list, I'm going to cross that off. Okay, well, you know what, that particular person doesn't really align with the way that I think. They're okay to have as a friend, but we're not going to really hang out as much. And so at the same time, like, there is another level where the way that that person is doesn't really even affect how you operate. Like, that's totally clear. And you go out and you live your normal life, they live their normal life, you coexist. No, that's a high level. But a lot of people aren't there where they can go, well, hey, this and this and this and this is influencing the way that I think and influencing the way that I make decisions, so we can't be really around each other anymore. It's because they're still projecting onto that other person, saying that you're the reason that I'm struggling. You're the reason that I'm not making better decisions. Well, no, you're the reason that you're not making better decisions, but you decided to use somebody else as a way to excuse yourself from responsibility or any accountability. And so at the same time, it's not to say that if you are going to hang out with losers, that you will end up being a loser. So it's probably not ideal to go out and hang out with people that are unemployed and unwilling to be employed if you're someone that wants to be employed, right? And it's not really ideal to then go out and hang out with people that frequent bars when you're somebody who wants to go to bed early, right? It doesn't match. And so the consistency also needs to match the identity that you see yourself as, so that then the actions then align with this particular identity as well. But it's a process, and that process is understanding the identity and then repeating the daily actions that are necessary every single day, so that then when your weeks are mapped out, your years are mapped out, you can then reverse engineer the daily actions that you need to take, so that then it bridges that gap, like we were talking about in the episode last week.
Yeah, and I find sometimes when you get to them situations that you're not entirely familiar with, and that you don't really associate with yourself normally, you just go there just to show up for the person just because they want you there. Sometimes that's what it takes to make you realise more that what you're doing is the right thing as well, because you see the way the people around you are behaving, their attitude, the way they talk, their mindset, all those things, and it's sometimes it can be very negative, and then that sort of helps you realise and teaches you a lesson at that point that, hey, I'm doing the right thing here by what I'm doing. Like, I'm in a different mindset to these guys, and now I can continue to lead by example, and hopefully as I change, they will begin to realise, because I'll just keep talking the way that I usually talk in that situation as well. Hopefully they eventually realise that even by doing different things, you can still do those things, but you can also change your mindset to do more positive things for yourself.
Absolutely. And then the thing too, though, is that when you are in a frame where you are working on the process, then what happens is your thoughts change. And so because daily consistent actions that align with your values or your said perceived values that will help you improve your life, by taking each action without distraction, it helps you transition from thinking in a more negative way to thinking in a more positive way, because you'll be talking about something. Let's say, for example, in this podcast, right? We've done 49 episodes or something.
Yeah, something
right?
like that,
Yeah, and so what we were talking about in the first episode is vastly different to what we're talking about now. And then the way that we're presenting the show is also vastly different. And it's because we took the consistent action, and then the process of noting down what we were going to talk about, what the topics were, and the points of discussion. And then what happened, and I know I felt this, is that I even thought of points about the subject that we're talking about during the episode as well, where you go, hey, that's actually a point that I hadn't considered yet, but because now we've done the daily process, hey, you know what, we can actually implement this point into the episode as well and actually add a new layer to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
You do that in training, where you train each and every single day, and then you go, well, hey, you know what, I can actually add this as well. Excuse me. And you can add all different things because your brain is rewiring in that moment. And so if you either stop yourself or distract yourself, you do yourself a disservice, because now your attention's somewhere else. You've now created a different pattern and you've diverted from the original process into something else. And when you let yourself have that moment to think and you're taking those actions, you allow yourself for your thoughts to be rewired, to then for your brain chemistry to change, and then eventually your life chemistry to change. Because when that thought chemistry changes and that action is implemented, everything changes. But if you allow yourself to resist, then what ends up happening is then you take a different direction. And because you resist and you have these feelings that are either unregulated or unaccounted for, you seek distraction, you seek soothing, you seek another person, whether it's in an adult relationship, or you seek a distraction if it's social media, if it's Netflix, if it's food, whatever. But when you don't resist and you embrace that process and you embrace the discomfort and you allow for that change to happen, that's when you transition into that new destiny, into that new found way of being, so that then your way of being in your existence changes entirely.
Yeah, and then that influences the people around you as well. If they see consistency in you and see where you've come from, they know that they can do it themselves. If they sort of, they see it happening.
That's the definition of inspiration, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And by taking accountability, by being consistent, by being responsible, then you demonstrate what's possible to other people as well. And so I'm absolutely certain there are people that you've inspired at the gym that you train at work, me, like there is a level of gravitas when it comes to consistency. There's a level of aura that you have when people see that you're consistent. It's like you can't be fucked with. And at the same time, you also won't take no for an answer if something that you believe is on the line. And also at the same time, you're willing to compromise when you might be wrong in certain situations as well. And so what that shows someone as well is that you're safe, that you can say things to you and either won't be used against you or it won't be used in a way that will compromise the relationship. And so by being consistent, by being in that process, not only does that life chemistry change, but also it rapidly improves everything around you, like you were saying. And you start to magnetize everything coming your way, and you begin to believe it as well. Because all of those actions that you've taken, now you genuinely believe that you're going to be successful. And that's the way it works. And so, guys, be consistent. Be the person that is consistent, not just in his thoughts or in her thoughts, but in your actions, in your intentions, in your relationships. Be honest. And because the more you continue lying to yourself as well, the more you're going to be distracted. Because now you're going to have to perpetrate and continue purporting the lie, meanwhile somebody else also misses out because you're not being who you truly are. And so you're doing yourself a disservice by doing more work, and then you're also doing someone else a disservice as well, because they don't get to experience the full you, the real you, whoever that looks like.
Yeah, that's right. You're not present in the moment.
No. And then by being consistent and by allowing yourself to change and grow, then you will feel more comfortable and more safe being vulnerable, because you know in the core of your being exactly who you are. And then consistency just becomes that much easier, because then you tick off or cross off the things that don't match.
Yeah, that's right. I think that pretty much sums up.
That was a good episode
well.
too.
Yeah.
And we really appreciate you tuning into today's episode. We really hope you did learn something and that you take action and make 2026 the year that you're consistent. And when you do reach 2027, you've reached a goal that you've focused on, that one goal that we talked about last episode, by focusing really, really hard and by being consistent, you will have reached that goal. And that is our big hope for you.
Yeah.
And we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, please like, share and subscribe, and thank you. Have a great day, guys.
We'll see you on the next episode.
Will do.